Hey everyone, welcome to video 9, which is going to be on the SUMIF formula. A few of you asked for some assistance with this formula in class and indicated that a video would be useful. So I'm going to do a quick video just showing you how the SUMIF formula works and some common mistakes which can trick you up. This is the exercise that we were working on in class during the week. You'll see that exercise 1 is about the accounting side of things, where we're working on recording some transactions, doing some balance day adjustments. Exercise 2 is doing a trial balance automatically. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sum up in the debit column figures that are equal to whatever the account row we're in is. So that's a bit of a mouthful. But so long as you get your absolute referencing down and you do the debit column formula separately from the credit column formula, it's not too difficult. Let's do the bank SUMIF formula first. So of course, as always, I'm going to go SUMIF equals SUMIF. Now, a couple of different options at this point. If I go open bracket, it will give me the 3 different arguments: the range, the criteria, and the sum range. Alternatively, I can click on FX and it will bring up my function arguments in a box here, and if you're unsure on a formula, I would always suggest doing that. It gives you access to a few things that can be quite handy. So range, all I have to do to know what it's asking for is click in the box. It then gives me some tips. So range is the range of cells you want to evaluate. Evaluate, what's that mean? So what that means is we are going to look at some of these cells and we're going to evaluate whether or not they are a match for this bank row. So that's what I'm checking. I'm going to look down here and I'm going to see, does it say bank anywhere? Now you can see with your eyes that it's going to, bank is in this one, B4, and then also down here in B8. But we need to tell Excel where to look with its eyes. So that's what the first one is. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to select that entire range, and if you completed the whole exercise, you'll have a lot more to select than me. You'll go all the way down probably. Just don't select the trial balance at all. We're only looking for the general journal account column. So that's the first argument. Alright, that's the range one done. With the criteria, this is, as our eyes go down here, what are we looking for? What is going to be the trigger that makes us add up the particular debit column figure. And what we're looking for, because I'm doing this cell at the moment, I'm looking to see whether we can see the word bank. So this is, the first argument is where I'm looking, the second argument is what am I looking for. And this time I'm looking for the bank word. Alright, so I'm just going to click on that. Notice I haven't done any absolute cell referencing yet. That's intentional. I'm intentionally going to make a mistake. It'll work for this cell, but when I autofill the rest of them, it won't work. And I'm going to show you how to fix that. Alright, third argument, sum range. If I click in here, it says the sum range is the actual cells we want to sum. If you don't fill this one out, and you don't have to because it's not bolded here, it's an optional argument. If I don't fill it out, it's going to try to add up these words. It'll add up whatever the range is. And that won't work, of course. That would give me an error. So, I need to add up the numbers, the debits or the credits. Well, that depends on which formula I'm doing. I'm doing the debit formula, so I should be adding up the debit range. And that's going to be your entire debit column for the general journal. Alright, so pretty much done now. I can click OK. Let's see if it's worked. I've ended up with a 0. Does that make sense? Do I have any debits to the bank account? No. I've got 2 bank account lines. Both of them are credits, so I should be seeing 0 here. But I do have a debit to insurance and a debit to rent. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to try to autofill this down. And my suggestion is whenever you're autofilling, just do 1 to start with and see if it works the way you wanted it to. And has this worked the way I want it to? Okay, so the SUMIF, what it's doing is it's looking in here, that's the range that we're looking at. It's looking for the insurance account, hopefully, and it should have found it. And when it did find it, it should have added up anything in the debit column. So this answer should be 15,500. So let's see what went wrong. I'm going to double click this formula, and that way I can see the colors and see what's happened. One argument at a time. So the blue argument is the range. Look what's happened. As I dragged the formula down, my blue range went down as well. Okay, so that's a problem. I need to fix my blue range. What about the red one? The red one is the criteria we're looking for. That's moved down, but that's good. That's what we wanted to happen. I'm not going to fix that one. I'm going to leave the red one as it is. The purple range, that is also a problem because that's the sum range and it's no longer selecting the entire debit column. That's moved down when I didn't want it to. So what I need to do then is delete this dud of a formula. It didn't work, delete it. We've got to perfect this first one. Alright, so I'm going to go into here. Now, just to make things consistent, I'm just going to change the range on that blue one so it's the whole thing and same as purple. I need to lock the blue one and lock the purple one. So that's when our absolute cell referencing comes in. The F4 key on your keyboard on both references for blue and purple. Okay, so I have actually fixed that now, and it is working as intended because bank is still showing up as 0. When I drag it down, look what's happening. I can check that my arguments are working. They definitely are. I should be able to drag this one down again, and look, it's working for rent as well. Because I didn't lock the red reference, this one here is moving down each time. It's working fine. On the credit side of things, it's going to be a very similar formula. So I'm just going to copy the bank one. And then over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the formula. So Control-Alt-V, and then formula. Or I can go up the top, I can choose paste and look for paste formula, which will be this one here. Alright, now this is going to need some changing, right? So I'm going to perfect this. The blue one is going to be my lookup range. That will not change from a debit to a credit. But the purple one, instead of adding up the debits when it finds a hit, I need it to add up the credits. So I'm going to click and drag that over to the credits. As I moved this formula over one to the right, my red, my criteria, moved over as well. So that's an issue. I need to take that back here. Alright, now that should work. I've got a credit to bank of these two together. And I pretty well dragged these ones down now. I know they're working. And I've got zeros, of course, because I've only done 2 journals. But if you've done the rest of them, you'll now be finished. Your trial balance should work. Add up the debits and the credits. If you do have an issue with debits and credits not balancing, it's very likely because this trial balance is missing an account. I vaguely remember that happened last week. So just check to make sure you have all the accounts mentioned in the journal listed in the trial balance. I might be missing one. One last thing. A common mistake people were making. My insurance here is $15,500. What happens if I just put some spaces in here? Alright, notice that spaces are causing a problem with the lookup formula. Now that's not really an issue with the debits, but what about this bank here? I've indented it. The way that I did an indent was I clicked on the cell, and then up here I used the indent or increase or decrease indent buttons. If instead you use spaces, watch what happens to my bank credit figure in the trial balance. It's no longer working. This is because my lookup value is searching for BANK, and that's it. It's not looking for spaces. So when you are indenting in Excel, make sure that you use the indent feature, not spaces. Other thing to do is to just make sure that whatever accounts you typed in the journal, so rent for example, make sure it's exactly the same as what it's called down in the trial balance. So if I called this one rent expense, that's going to cause problems in my trial balance. They have to have the same name. Alright, I hope that was helpful guys, and good luck with your Excel.